I've been a Valorant coach for the past year, and I've helped dozens of players reach Immortal and beyond. In this video, I'll be giving you 5 movement tips you need to know that will help you completely change your movement in Valorant. Starting with the first tip, you need to learn how to properly move throughout the map. For many of you, your movement when moving throughout the map looks like this, pressing 2 keys at the same time, allowing ourselves to be easy targets. This is a no-no if you want to get better. We need to condition ourselves to move while pressing 1 key at a time. If we want to move left, press D, not D and W. If we want to move forward, press W, not W and D. This will allow us to properly build the discipline we need in our movement to remain a hard target whenever we are approaching a fight or are in one. Try sticking to this rule. If we want to press W to move forward, make sure we will not make contact with the enemy while doing so. The best way to ensure this is to use cover such as your environment or our utility. When you want to fight, make sure to only move either right or left. Switching directions is fine as long as you are pressing 1 key at a time. This will allow us to be a hard target to kill for our enemies, which will give us more time to secure the kill. This tip is going to allow us to become efficient in strafe shooting when taking mid to long range fights, which is moving in one direction, taking a burst or a tap, then moving into the opposite direction. Practice makes perfect, so put in some time to make this a habit. For the second tip, we have seen many arguments surrounding these two mechanics, counter-strafing and dead zoning. Counter-strafing is used to completely stop your movement faster so you are able to shoot accurately immediately. To properly counter-strafe, you want to move into one direction, release the current key you are holding, and then simultaneously tap the opposite key and shoot. This mechanic can help sharpen your movement if just releasing your keys feels weird to you, but it's important to note that this mechanic is not mandatory. Releasing your keys without counter-strafing is perfectly fine, but counter-strafing is slightly faster. The difference between the two is hardly noticeable, so go with whichever you are more comfortable with. Dead zoning, on the other hand, is mandatory since it will give you an insane edge when peeking enemies or taking long-range fights. Dead zoning is used to allow yourself to accurately shoot 1 to 2 bullets at your enemy without letting yourself coming to a full dead stop. It's the same exact series of mechanics as counter-strafing, except instead of just tapping the opposite movement key, you want to hold it to continue your movement into the opposite direction. You may accurately shoot 1 or 2 bullets once you have pressed the opposite movement key. If you're in the lower ranks, don't focus on these 2 movement mechanics until you have mastered the fundamentals. You most likely haven't mastered tip number 1, which should be seen as the fundamentals of movement in this game. For the third tip, you need to understand how to properly move when you are using rifles and semi-automatic pistols, which, funny enough, you can actually check your movement stats with these weapons by using the Guide's Insight application. Type in the Guide Insight Valorant in Google and it should be the first link that appears. Either class of weapon you have, if you are extremely close to your enemy, you want to run and gun full Rambo style. We are close enough to where our movement and accuracy won't negatively affect us. Anything more than 7 meters is too far. Fights that are more than 7 meters up to 25 meters, we want to implement a series of bursts and strafes. The closer the enemy is, the longer you want to commit to the fight before taking another strafe. So if a guy is 10 meters away, it would be necessary to burst 7 bullets and only strafe once if we need to, compared to taking a fight that is 20 meters away where we may want to shorten our bursts and add on to the number of strafes we take in between each burst. When deciding on what you will be doing, you must take into consideration the distance of your enemy, the type of weapon you have, and the type of weapon your enemy has. If we have a Vandal and we are fighting against a Ghost, we want to keep our distance, making sure that we are taking short bursts while implementing a lot of strafes to make it hard for the Ghost user to hit us. We only need to land 1 headshot while they need to land 2. For the fourth tip, you need to understand how to properly move when you are using SMGs and the Frenzy. SMGs and the Frenzy has a high fire rate, little damage, and low accuracy. So with this being known, it is our goal to fight close range fights only. When taking these fights, we do not want to stop moving. Moving in one direction or even side to side will help us be a harder target to eliminate for our enemies, which will buy us more time to land our shots to secure the kill. If we have an SMG or a Frenzy and we are fighting against a Vandal user, the best odds of winning this fight is by closing the space before engaging. We can do this by using cover such as utility or our environment. For the fifth tip, you need to make sure you are taking the proper path to take a bomb site either on your retakes or executions. Scaling through the middle of a bomb site can be a huge mistake, since by doing this, we are overexposing ourselves to too many angles. Choosing to scale on either the left or right side allows us to use our environment as protection, and it allows us to properly clear angles with our A or D keys without being overly exposed. This can be really good if we have two teammates pushing the right side and we push the left. We can close in on an enemy who is likely to be playing behind Gen, Dice, or in Hell. Lastly, I have a bonus tip for you all that will help you get some flashy clips. You can drop to the bottom or attach to a rope without making a sound. If you want to silently drop to the bottom of a rope to descend quicker, all you need to do is jump or fall off the ledge. Right before you touch the bottom, press and hold your shift key, tap your S key, and then attach yourself to the rope. You can finish this off by jumping off the rope after you've attached, which will lunge you forward silently. We can also silently attach to a horizontal rope by copying the exact same series of mechanics. This trick is best used when we are in clutch situations so you don't give away your position while moving quickly. After implementing these tips, you will see your movement transform. But the only way you will ever get better is by dedicating consistent practice towards the tips that I have mentioned in this video. So go into the practice range or a custom game and practice using all of the mentioned tips in imaginary scenarios. Over time, you will get better. If you guys found this video to be helpful, hit that subscribe button because it's free and it helps me out a lot. Since we are already on the topic of movement, I'd recommend watching this video next.